is heavily connected to the Kansas City Chiefs. I am sure it would be Tyreek's first place if he could pick to go back to. At least I would think it would be. And the Chiefs have a need, and the Chiefs are interested, and they're not worried about any of his other question marks.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
51-0, Donnie.
Yeah.
Those numbers don't lie. Georgia, every time they rush for over 200 yards, that's dating back from 2017 against FCS and FBS opponents. They don't lose. The 2 years that they won back-to-back national championships, year one, they rushed for over 208 times. Year two, when they beat TCU, that year they rushed for over 206 times.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Look at the weather, try to look for some anytime touchdowns or maybe some props that you really feel confident about. But it's always the time for urgency, especially for a team like the New York Giants. I think that defense is something that can give Giants fans hope. And then if you get Dart under center, it's hope. And then if you can get Scatterboo out there and the whole building's going boo, it's hope. And as we know, hope works.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
Walsh here live on SportsGrid. It is game time. Decisions coming to you from the Decisions desk as we make decisions all day, all week, all the time. Someone said, Kev, you're dressed like a waiter. I said I'm going to serve him up a couple of sizzles. We're underway, baby. We're underway on a Wednesday. Another day closer to Dolphins plus the points. Can't wait. Some books saw me come. One book gave out a 50% profit boost. Any bet you want on the game, max $5 bet. They're worried. They heard OK Dubs is ready to bark with the dog. We'll talk more football in a minute, but I'm sure many of you today dialed in on a Major League Baseball board with plenty to come and plenty on the line as we continue to track the wild card races. First, in the National League yesterday, the Mets pick up an important win against the Padres because they came out of the gates hot, 5 in the first. They held on. They saw Cincinnati grab a win yesterday, and they saw Arizona stay red hot, their 4th straight win. Right now, you have a Giants team falling under 500, Reds sitting at 500, the Mets trying to keep pole position today. They've got Peterson on the mound as a favorite against the Padres and Pivetta. In the American League, the Yankees looking to kind of settle in. The benefit for the Yanks is they're playing better baseball right now than that of the Boston Red Sox or even the Houston Astros. Those two teams still in that picture, but good baseball from the Guardians has them in the mix. Winners of 9 of their last 10 games. I actually am involved in 4 baseball games today, 4 totals, all towards the under. None of those starting until like 7:30 or later. So we've got some time to put those wagers in, and we will go through them. At 6:40, you've got the Tigers and the Guardians, the Red Sox and the A's, and then you'll start to get some 7:05 action. We have seen a couple of games finish up, okay? Notably, the Cubs beating the Pirates, clinching their postseason berth at 88-64. The Cubbies having a great season, only 4.5 back of Milwaukee. The Cubs have played well enough to win that division. It's just the Brewers, of course, have been fantastic. If you're not betting baseball, that means you're likely betting the WNBA playoffs. Yesterday, heartbreak, gut punch across the board, really, for me. First game, best bet, Indiana Fever, team total over 77.5. Look like a winner. Land 77. That's not what you want to see. And then in the late slate, as I look to put the Vegas Aces into round number 2, they blow a big-time lead against the Seattle Storm, up by as many as 14 in the basketball game. They lose 86-83. Now, the under-the-hat portion of this is I played the Storm as well before the year of the win of the title. The thing is, if the Storm pulled off this upset of the Aces in the third game in advance, Seattle doesn't actually have a chance with this group to win the championship. They could win another round, but I don't see a world where the Storm go out there and actually win the title. I think they've been too inconsistent throughout this season. So we're going to have a couple of game threes already, but the odds said we wouldn't. We do. The odds tonight tell us we will not have game threes in either New York Phoenix or Minnesota Golden State. We'll see if that is true. The big note for the Liberty tonight, their spread growing stronger and stronger as there is more confidence in the market that Breanna Stewart will play against the Phoenix Mercury. My best bet tonight will come from the WNBA, so we will get to that. The Lynx still sitting as a double-digit favorite against Golden State late night as the Valkyries look for the first win in the history of their franchise in the first season of their franchise in the postseason. Today, their coach actually awarded the Coach of the Year, so we'll see if that gives them a little bit of juice, momentum, and bounce. As, of course, if we're in September, October, November, we're following the football, pro and college. From a college perspective, that slate's knocking on the door. So we figured we'd open the dorm room here at GameTime Decision State University, and we'll give you a couple of picks from the crew. Some of them, the lines aren't even out yet. The books better not run scared. They better pop these open come Saturday because, again, we're knocking on the door, so we will talk some college here on a Wednesday. We will also, as we did last week, talk target player props. And last target player props, we're really happy, I think, just with how things went. Again, it is about where the books are going to post numbers, more so committing to we're definitely betting this regardless of the number. But there was the right idea, whether that be Josh Allen under the passing yards, whether that be what do we do with Kenneth Walker, Gibbs finding the end zone. And we've got a couple of spots that are really worth discussing, and I'll spoil one of them. And we will talk later on in our show with Tom Vecchio about, I think, quite a bit. A.J. Brown, and what will the books do with that prop come Sunday when the Eagles play the L.A. Rams, a 3.5-point spread in a matchup of last year's NFC divisional round. A number of big games this weekend in the NFL. The Giants and the Chiefs, the only game between two 0-2 teams, so guaranteed to have a winless team through 3 weeks. Hard to imagine it will be Kansas City, and the market agreeing as their 5.5-point number up to 6.5 in some areas. Russell Wilson and the G-Man will try and stun the Chiefs. They tried to stun Dallas, fell short. We'll see what it brings in Sunday night. In other NFC East news, not looking good for Jaden Daniels. I think it is, at this point, a long shot that he plays against the Vegas Raiders at home. That line largely settling at -3 in the across sports books. But a different report out of San Francisco, Brock Purdy may return. I think this is a bit of a surprise. You could even argue it's a bit of a mistake. Is Brock Purdy better than Mac Jones? Yeah. Is a injured Brock Purdy so much better than Mac Jones that you should rush him back? I don't think so. Again, we've gone through this Niners schedule. They were favored when we thought it was going to be Mac Jones, 1.5. It's up to 2.5. That line likely goes to 3, maybe 3.5, probably not, but maybe if it is Purdy. But again, booked as favorites. You'd likely be favored against Jacksonville as well. They've not played a home game yet, the Niners. So, listen, there's upsets all the time, but the Niners could easily be 4-0 before bringing Brock Purdy back. And you have a Thursday night game against the Rams, an important one. This could be a misstep. Now, you would not think that they would play him unhealthy, but maybe they feel a little bit of pressure with the Arizona Cardinals starting 2-0 and playing another divisional game so early on. We will also, at some point, I think, just keep our eyes on Raiders rookie running back Ashton Genty, who in some spots has stayed the offensive rookie of the year favorite. Genty speaking publicly about how he's like, I don't really think you draft a guy like me 6th to not give me more touches. Pete Carroll speaking publicly about how we'd like to get him 8 to 11 more touches, get him around that 20 mark. Sounds good. Got to actually do it. Maybe a spot this week against the Raiders. We will keep our eye on all of it, but we dive into the Major League Baseball board after this commercial break. We're live with you on SportsGrid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
If you're in the Super Bowl market, if you're in the futures market, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill is heavily connected to the Kansas City Chiefs. I am sure it would be Tyreek's first place if he could pick to go back to. At least I would think it would be. And the Chiefs have a need, and the Chiefs are interested, and they're not worried about any of his other question marks.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
They have Boise State, they have Arkansas, they have USC. There's no shot in Purdue. Those are the only big games that they have the rest of the way. They're not getting back into the college football playoff. They're not, Donnie. I don't care if they've won 10 straight.
Remember when they lost to NIU? No way, no care. What happens the rest of the season? They can't get in. Who was in the college football championship last year?
But they had
Notre
marquee
Dame.
wins at some point
I don't
last
care. They
year.
lost to NIU.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I needed a mental break when the season was over. Because it's a lot. It's a lot. You get tired of training. But, man, I never get tired of playing golf. I love it. I mean, every course is different. Every day is different. And some days you're like, oh, I got this. I got it. Then you go out there and shoot a 95 the next day. I'm like, damn.
The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Look at the weather, try to look for some anytime touchdowns or maybe some props that you really feel confident about. But it's always the time for urgency, especially for a team like the New York Giants. I think that defense is something that can give Giants fans hope. And then if you get Dart under center, it's hope. And then if you can get Scatterboo out there and the whole building's going boo, it's hope. And as we know, hope works.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions right here on a Wednesday night. The Major League Baseball board with a number of options for us. I find myself liking unders. 4 games, 4 unders. Let's go piece by piece here. We'll acknowledge every game. We just started Tigers Guardians, and we're about to start Red Sox A's at 7:05. The Blue Jays look for another win. Going up against the Tampa Bay Rays. The Blue Jays have won 6 consecutive. At this point, it would be stunning if they gave up their lead in the American League East, and that is why they are appropriately priced as minus 7,000 favorites. The Yankees at 25-1, 250-1 is where the number sits on the Boston Red Sox. Mets-Padres sees Peterson and Pivetta go. I think you could actually argue some value on Pivetta and the Padres. The Mets are playing better in that they've won their last 2 games, but it feels like this month plus has been a house of horrors, and I think Pivetta is the better pitcher. At a decent plus price, I don't mind a bet on San Diego. Ultimately, did not sign up for that myself. The Brewers and the Angels are going to go at 740. Woodruff against Soriano. We've talked about Soriano. Occasionally looks like a Cy Young. Occasionally he looks like he's, bound for AAA baseball. It's, you never know what you're really going to get. Low total at 7.5. I think Woodruff could have a good start here. Brewers run line if you're really tempted. The other 2 740 games, I played both. And again, that means I played both to the under. We started a 9.5 number for Twins-Yankees. That at -120. Always want to get the best of these numbers. I thought that tick extra juice was good for the half. Need 10 now to not win this wager. 9 would be a push, but in most cases. But in this one, it would be a straight win. Louis Heel, I don't really have to sell you on. I think, one of the underrated stories right now for the Yankees is this rotation is really starting to come together, I think. And Heel did not start or did not return in a flashy way. Gave up 5 earned runs to the Miami Marlins. He's not given up more than 2 earned runs in any start since. He's been really, really good for the New York Yankees. And Taj Bradley actually has a little bit of that Jose Soriano in him that I talked about. And since he's come over from Tampa Bay to Minnesota, he's had some tough starts. His first start was really tough, but we've also seen some great moments like the 1 earned run performance over 5 innings against the Padres. So I'll play 9.5 here because I think both pitchers bring plenty to the table. I think the same is true with the matchup between Kansas City and Seattle. Now, you could get some expensive 9s out there, -124. I took an even money number on an 8.5 for Royals Mariners. Cole Reagans is back. Long time since we've seen Cole Reagans. You got to go back to June since the last Cole Reagans start. But we know the pedigree, and we know what's expected of Reagans, and the books are expecting a really good start. That's why Kansas City is a favorite in this game, to stop a 10-game winning streak of the Seattle Mariners. I don't want to play a side here because I think Bryce Miller, while he is not Brian Wu or George Kirby or Logan Gilbert, I think Bryce Miller is still solid. It's without sounding, I don't want to sound rude, it's like the ugly stepchild because these other guys they all feel like they could potentially be a Cy Young one day. I think Bryce Miller is capable of really good stuff. He's in a nice bounce back spot, gave up 4 earned in his most recent outing, despite 11 strikeouts. I think we see good stuff from Bryce Miller to keep us under an 8.5. Low total in Astros Rangers. I don't think it's low enough. Played an under 7.5 at -110 between Christian Javier and Jacob deGrom. I expect great stuff from deGrom in this game. The Astros have scored 6 in the first 2 games of this series. As nice as that is, I'm not sure that continues. We know the Yordan Alvarez injury that they have, an injury that was broken to me by newsbreaker Craig Mish yesterday live on this show. Christian Javier is better than what we've seen from his last 2 starts, giving up 4 earned in each. I think we see some good stuff from Javier tonight in his home ballpark. He's been much better at home than on the road, in albeit limited work so far this season. And then we go to the last game of the night, the Dodgers and the Phillies. I got to tell you, man, what a win for Philadelphia. I mean, truly. To clinch the division, to get no hit by, through 5 innings by Ohtani, and still find a way to win that game, scoring 9. The Phils are making a real case for World Series favorites, and it's one that we're actually starting to see in some spots. Really, really impressed. With that said, I don't want to play a side here tonight. I want to play this under, and I want to play it at an 8. Blake Snell, we've seen him have really good stuff, had good stuff in his last start. I know it's the Rockies, but struck out 11 in 6, only 2 hits, scoreless baseball. I think it's more the same. Jesus Luzardo, again, it's that up and down. What am I going to get? Wasn't great his last go-around in a totality where he gave up 4 earned, but it was 8 innings, 10 Ks. I like what I get out of Jesus Luzardo tonight, enough to pair with Snell to play under 8. So 4 unders for me on the Major League Baseball board. Under a 9.5, Twins-Yankees, -120. Under an 8.5, Royals-Mariners, even money. Under 7.5, Astros-Rangers, -110. Under the 8 in Dodgers-Phillies, that's at -114. Now, if you're like, too many unders. All unders? Too many, come on, too much. Well, Our team's got you hooked up here with some best bets. We'll get to the W and my best bet in our upcoming segment, but Chris is going to back Soto at -105 for 2+ hit run RBI. Soto's having a great season, by the way. Just in totality, you check the numbers, Soto's having himself a really, really good one. In the same game, AJ plays the Mets on the money line at -130. So, I mentioned maybe some value on the Padres, didn't play it. He sees it the other way. And then Sam's going to go into that Dodgers-Phillies game. Really a fun one tonight. We'll see if the Phils can win again. First 5 run line, -0.5, -104. Backing Snell against Lazard. So that is where their best bets check in for the Major League Baseball board. Is there anything baseball-wise I didn't hit? Because we looked at every game. Obviously, we didn't bet every single game. Rockies, Marlins. Listen, what do you want to do here in brown weathers? Like yesterday's 10 looked light. It gets there because of a big 9th inning from the Rockies to push to 11. The Marlins are a bad. Listen, I mean, they're not. I don't want to besmirch the name of the team who cruised through a win total. They're 71-80. They're not great. They're 30 games better. They're 30 games up. The 71-80 Marlins are 30 games up on the Rockies. What a season from Colorado. Again, a 4-pack of unders tonight in the Dodgers game, the Yankees game, the Astros game, as well as the Royals game. We talk WNBA next right here on SportsGrid.
Outside of Portrush, hard to imagine how it gets any better in terms of an individual year for Rory McIlroy. Just such good stuff from him.
Oh, totally. It's, it's kind of wild to me. You just go through that incredible list of venues that he's won at, and then, of course, throw in the Irish Open to be the 4th. It is hard to believe that he has not won since April. And we talk about this incredible year that he's had.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Who wants to go to Chicago in February for a Super Bowl? Hey, the NFL can host outdoor parties on Lake Michigan. Stop the madness at this point. But now I take a look at the Denver Broncos. Always fun in the Mile High City. Why? Because what a home field advantage. It's at elevation. It's going to be cold. It might snow. And Denver's going to have that advantage. You know what Denver goes? We're going to build a world-class facility that's going to be a dome.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Here with you on SportsGrid on a Wednesday, live from the decisions desk. We got a couple to make in the WNBA tonight. We will try and set you up for the weekend, though, with target player props, so that's going to be coming up here in about 20 or so minutes, so make sure you stay locked in for that. Excited to do target player props again. We got a couple of good ones for you here. Heading into week number 3, we'll have Tom Vecchio react on the other side, always good in the props market. We will also talk to Jake Aspen, does an excellent job, really the pulse of New York sports, but has a good eye on the New York Jets. One of the quarterback pieces of injury news I didn't mention off the top of the show, Justin Fields confirmed out for that football game with a concussion for the Jets. I know they lost in week 1. They were riding high. It is incredible how much that is all falling apart now before they even play their third game this season. But that is how it feels. Could Tyrod be better than Fields? Better than Fields last week. I don't think better than Fields week 1. It's a frustrating spot for Jets fans. That line up to a touchdown against Tampa Bay in some places. Again, we'll ask Jake his thoughts on that and a little bit about Aaron Glenn's start to his tenure as the Jets head coach, that defense. So we will get you a little bit of insight on a game that I'm sure people will be lining up, Survivor, this, that, and what have you. So we will talk about the New York Jets in just a little bit, but we'll keep it local, and we'll talk some New York Liberty against the Phoenix Mercury. The big question for this game is, will Breanna Stewart be playing? Now, she's out there. She's warming up. You can see that if you're watching the pregame on ESPN. I always look to the props market, and they're offering Stewie props, 14.5. That tells me she's playing. Now, it's a more reserved number on Breanna Stewart. You got to remember, Stewie actually played 40 minutes, okay, in the game against the Mercury. It did go to overtime, but, I mean, that is a full workload. So it's a lot. It's a tasking, to go, game into overtime, travel from Phoenix to New York, game again. I would be cautious. From a side perspective, feel Phoenix is live, but I'm not running to bet that. What I am betting is Alyssa Thomas for 10-plus assists. In some spots, you could get an 8.5 at around minus 140 or so. I don't want to be involved with that juice. I'm targeting double digits here for Alyssa Thomas, who, in the first game of this series, finished with 8, despite the fact that her teammates shot it very poorly. Okay? Her teammates were 18 of 59 for the game. She didn't shoot any threes. They were 6 of 26. You put your eyes on Satou Sabally and Kalia Copper, were a combined 1 for 14 from beyond the arc. Those are easy dimes that Alyssa Thomas will get. I get it's on the road, but in an important, their season's on the line. And Alyssa Thomas is their best player. The ball's going to be in her hand. She's going to look to make decisions, and I think she'll make plenty of them tonight. That set up her teammates here. I like Alyssa Thomas for 10-plus assists over the 9.5 at plus 110. You see the fellas' best bets there for the baseball board. That's where we're all locked in tonight, the playbook, if you will, for us here on Game Time Decisions. Game 2, if you're the Valkyries, you'd love to pull off this upset, right? What a cherry on top of this unbelievable season. I'm for some of you who may not follow the W closely, you may not fully understand that Golden State was supposed to be the worst team in the league by far. They smashed their team total to smithereens. I mean, they were over that team total before July. The win total, okay? Secured a playoff spot, and unfortunately run into Minnesota, who's been a buzzsaw here. But Golden State's been so good at home. It's a big reason why they made the playoffs. I am not telling you that the number is wrong, because is Minnesota about 10 points better or so, right? Yes. But you could argue, little spread math. It was 13.5 in Minnesota. Let's say WNBA home court advantage is worth 1.5. In the playoffs, if it's worth 2 points, that would suggest it should be 9.5. If you flip up the extra half point because of how good they were, okay. But you might have the two. Could you argue these are the two strongest home courts in the W? Because Golden State looks completely different when they play at home, and Minnesota's 20-2 at home, where maybe this is a 6-point swing. And again, the number was clearly light. Minnesota nearly won by 30 in the first game, but maybe the number's a little tall here in game number 2. We'll keep our eyes on the W tonight. We talk some Jets football after the break on SportsGrid.
outside of Portrush, hard to imagine how it gets any better in terms of an individual year for Rory McIlroy. Just such good stuff from him.
Oh, totally. It's, it's kind of wild to me. You just go through that incredible list of venues that he's won at, and then, of course, throwing the Irish Open to be the fourth. It is hard to believe that he has not won since April. And we talk about this incredible year that he's had.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Who wants to go to Chicago in February for a Super Bowl? Hey, the NFL can host outdoor parties on Lake Michigan. Stop the madness at this point. But now I take a look at the Denver Broncos. Always fun in the Mile High City. Why? Because what a home field advantage. It's at elevation. It's going to be cold. It might snow, and Denver's going to have that advantage. You know what Denver goes? We're going to build a world-class facility that's going to be a dome.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
GameTime Decisions live on a Wednesday night, and we are looking to set you up not just for tonight, but throughout the week. And last week, right, if we were, looking for early lines, you want to beat the number. Jets +7, great piece of closing line value. Meant a whole lot of nothing when they actually played the game, as Buffalo, from the word go, was on it. Next thing you know, Fields has a concussion. He's out of the game, and the Jets now feel in a very weird spot, and they've already ruled out Justin Fields for this weekend in Tampa Bay. To get a better sense around this football team, as somebody who knows him as well as anybody, that's Jake Asman, host of the Jake Asman Show. He's joined us here before on Game Time Decisions. Jake, appreciate you making some time. It'd be great if we were talking about a 1-1 football team. How do they bounce back? Vibes not as high.
Yeah, it's amazing, right? Just think about how different the vibes would be if Chris Boswell doesn't hit from 60+ and the Jets actually beat Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers in week 1, or if Xavier Gibson doesn't cough away the football on a kickoff that ends up costing him his job. I think the Jets win going away if that happens. Instead, you're 0-2, you're already on your backup quarterback, and you're about a touchdown underdog on Sunday against your old coach and a really good quarterback in Baker Mayfield. So it's crazy how quick things change. That being said, this is the adversity that Aaron Glenn is going to have to deal with, right? I mean, people were very high after that loss to Pittsburgh, calling it a moral victory, some even said. But now you're in a spot where, who really cares about your moral victory? You're 0-2, and everything you built up in that quote-unquote moral victory in week 1, it goes out the window with how poorly they came out and played against the Buffalo Bills. So they're dealing with a lot of adversity, Kevin, and for a first-time coach in Aaron Glenn, we're really going to get an early look on what he's made of.
Where are you at, Jake, on the fact that Tyrod is going to go out there? Because he's one of the backup quarterbacks. Look, sometimes you get a backup quarterback where it's like, oh, please don't make me watch this. That's not Tyrod Taylor. Again, I think the last time Jake joined us was on the Justin Fields tore his ACL, oh, wait, he's fine day. And we were already signing up for months and months of Tyrod. Tyrod is a guy that you feel like with respect to Fields, is it that definitively worse? What do you make of the quarterback situation?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, honestly, if you tell me you have one game to win and you could either pick Justin Fields or Tyrod Taylor, if you guarantee me Tyrod's going to make it through the game, right? Because we know he's had a ton of injury concerns in his career. He might be the better quarterback just because you kind of know more what you're going to get. The floor for Tyrod, I think, is way higher than Fields. Now, the ceiling for Fields is way higher. We
Yeah.
saw that week 1. He had the best game of his life. His full talent was really on display as not just an elite runner, but he was making some pinpoint throws, and he was making throws on the run. And then he looked like Zach Wilson 2.0 on Sunday against the Buffalo Bills. So he had his best game ever, and then maybe his worst game ever in consecutive weeks. And that's kind of, in a microcosm, the Justin Fields experience. Whereas Tyrod, you look at his career, I mean, the guy's been a 500 quarterback in his career. Like, he is a solid NFL starter. He's a guy that when he has played, he's competent, and he can go out there. He's not going to turn the ball over. He's not going to be afraid to take chances and throw downfield. So I expect the Jets passing game to be a lot more effective this week. Plus, it's hard to be any worse than they were last week, right? So I don't know if it's a big downgrade. Obviously, Fields has the higher ceiling. He's 26. You're trying to find out if he can maybe, be your long-term starter. But for a Jets team that's just trying to get a win and try and build something with Aaron Glenn and get things going here with a new regime, I think Tyrod, you could argue, maybe gives him a better chance to actually go on the road and win this game on Sunday.
Well, then let's live in the optimistic land, which then creates problems. And you know this, Jake. And this is where the New York media stuff comes in. Tyrod wins the game. Fields is good from the concussion. Dolphins on deck on a Monday night. Is it as simple as Fields gets the job back, or do we have a controversy budding?
Well, let me say this. As a Jet fan, I hope there is a quarterback controversy, because that probably means, obviously, right, that Tyrod played well and they won.
Yeah.
I think they would prefer to go back to Fields for some of the things we talked about, right? The upside of his game, 26. Do we have something long-term? Yeah. But if Tyrod plays well, right, and they win because of him, it's not just like an ugly, low-scoring game and the Jets defense makes some turnovers and, they win ugly, then I think maybe they just go back to Fields no matter what. But if he looks good, right, then I think maybe they roll with Tyrod for another game. And for those saying, well, what about Fields? Well, unfortunately, if you look at Tyrod Taylor's career, he gets hurt a lot. So there's going to be a moment where he's probably going to be banged up, and then you go back to Justin Fields anyway. I don't know definitively what the Jets would do. I just hope we get to debate it, because that means they've probably won the game on Sunday. And you can start to talk yourself into, hey, you're playing the Dolphins the week after. All of a sudden, can you be 2-2 and maybe try and give your fans, a fun month of football where the schedule does soften up after the Jets bye week, and then all of a sudden, maybe you could be in the hunt. I think that's the goal for most Jet fans. Like, make it to December still mathematically alive, but you got to win games, man. You start 0-3, it could start to really spiral.
The interesting piece, Jake, for this football team is, if I would have told you in week 1 they score 32, you not for a second would have thought, oh, they might have lost that game. The Jets have now allowed 30 in each of the first 2 games. It's 2 games, but the defense is supposed to be not just a calling card with the roster. That's what Aaron Glenn is brought in for. Are you seeing real signs of concern, or Rodgers was on it, Bills are really good? No, don't panic on that side of the football yet.
Look, I don't want to say that, they're doomed, but I think the defense is definitely a concern, because let's remember, this is a Jets defensive unit that has 8 of its 11 starters back year over year. Their head coach is a defensive-minded coach. Their coordinator, Steve Wilkes, has been a DC for a long time in the NFL. So the thought process going into the year, Kevin, was this defense is going to have to lead the way as Justin Fields and company are learning a new offensive scheme, and there could be some growing pains there. The defense has the continuity. It's a new scheme for them too, but I think we all expected the Jet defense to play a lot better. They've yet to force a turnover through the first 2 games, and how concerning is it? You watch Aaron Rodgers go out there and play great against them in week 1, and then what happened in week 2 when the Steelers came home? They only scored 17 points. So you have to be at least a little concerned, I think, even if you're the most optimistic Jet fan about this unit, because a lot of the players that have been really good, like a Quincy Williams or Jamie and Sherwood, Michael Carter, these guys have all been bad. Plus their big free agent signing at corner, Brandon Stevens, who replaced DJ Reed, he's been terrible so far. And even Sauce Gardner had an awful game last week against the Bills. So long answer to your question, but I do think there is some legit concerns for the Jet defense right now.
Which, again, but it's important to know, right? Because this is a team who's opening the game against the Steelers was a total sub 40 for week 1. I mean, that was stunning. Now, 2 weeks is a bit of a trend. I think it's a big thing to keep our eyes on. Jake, I'll leave you with this, because I think it's something that I'm keeping my eye on. Maybe you think I'm way off base here, and that's fine. Please tell me. Breece Hall performances, I think, matter no matter how good the Jets are until the trade deadline passes. Because let's take the Chiefs, for example. Everyone's talking about how awful that rush attack is. well, could Breece Hall be a game changer for them? I think it's on the board. Do you think Breece Hall is something to monitor, not just in relation to the Jets, but around the league?
Definitely if they're out of it, right? Like if the Jets are 2-7 at the bye week and you have a running back who's on the last year of his deal, I could see the scenario where, maybe the Jets would at least listen on some trade offers for Breece. I don't expect it because I do think this team is going to be able to, win enough games where Aaron Glenn's not going to want to trade away one of his most dynamic weapons. I think Breece Hall, the guy we saw in week 1 was the guy that we saw a couple of years ago that was on his way to winning the Rookie of the Year before he got hurt. A guy that in 2023, coming off an ACL injury, was second in the NFL in yards from scrimmage behind just Christian McCaffrey at his position. So I don't think we're there yet, but if they're out of it and he's a free agent, all of a sudden they could get something for him. It's not the craziest thought at all.
Yeah, it's going to be something to watch, I think. Jake Asman, host of the Jake Asman Show. Jake, we really appreciate it. Best of luck watching the game against Tampa Bay.
I'm going to be there in person, so hopefully it's not too painful.
At least that weather will be A-okay. We'll talk some Breece Hall and target player props next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
If you're in the Super Bowl market, if you're in the futures market, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill is heavily connected to the Kansas City Chiefs. I am sure it would be Tyreek's first place if he could pick to go back to. At least I would think it would be. And the Chiefs have a need, and the Chiefs are interested, and they're not worried about any of his other question marks.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
They have Boise State, they have Arkansas, they have USC. There's no shot in Purdue. Those are the only big games that they have the rest of the way. They're not getting back into the college football playoff. They're not, Donnie. I don't care if they've won 10 straight.
Remember when they lost to NIU? No way, no care. What happens the rest of the season? They can't get in. Who was in the college football championship last year?
But they had marquee wins at some point.
I don't care. They lost to NIU.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I needed a mental break when the season was over. Because it's a lot. It's a lot. You get tired of training. But, man, I never get tired of playing golf. I love it. I mean, every course is different. Every day is different. And some days you're like, oh, I got this. I got it. Then you go out there and shoot a 95 the next day. I'm like, damn.
The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Look at the weather, try to look for some anytime touchdowns or maybe some props that you really feel confident about. But it's always the time for urgency, especially for a team like the New York Giants. I think that defense is something that can give Giants fans hope. And then if you get Dart under center, it's hope. And then if you can get Scatterboo out there and the whole building's going boo, it's hope. And as we know, hope works.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, Game Time Decisions. We are rolling on a Wednesday night. Let's roll right into some target player props here and things that stand out. And I think we start with where we left off because, again, we put these together, and Breece Hall, Jets running back, was mentioned in the anytime touchdown market. And I think this is a really, really sharp look. I think this is something absolutely worth putting your eye on. Now, what are some of the details on it, right? Breece has not scored yet, and he's going up against a team in Tampa Bay. While, they know how to stop the run, we've seen running back touchdowns in each areas. Nick Chubb broke a big one on the ground against Tampa Bay on Monday Night Football, and Bijan had a huge receiving touchdown against Tampa Bay, and Breece Hall's effective in both areas. Why I think this is so perfect for target player props, though. With Justin Fields out, a team missing their starting quarterback, we may see a lower number in terms of expected points, Jets offense, right? But there's a couple of things there. With Fields out, the likelihood of a Breece Hall rushing touchdown goes up. Even if you think Braylon Allen is the goal line back, and maybe I shouldn't say it like that. Even if Braylon Allen is the goal line back, right? I'm acting like that's not the case, right? Breece Hall was also competing with Fields for rushing touchdowns. Just to start this Jets season, Fields has multiple rushing touchdowns, right? Only the one so far for Braylon Allen. So that helps. Plus, I think that Tyrod right now and the aggregate of Justin Fields can be similar. I think Jake said it perfectly. Higher ceiling Fields, lower floor Fields. So I am fascinated in what we are going to see for a Breece Hall anytime touchdown number. 2-1, like you don't usually see that for top-end running backs. And remember, the books last week, rushing receiving number for Breece Hall shot that thing up. Week 1, it was in the mid-60s. Week 2, it was in the mid-80s. So where do they level out now off of bad games with Fields out against a 2-0 Tampa team? From a touchdown perspective, I think Breece Hall is something you have to have your eye on. Now, to get to, and this is something we almost like stumbled a little bit into last week because we hadn't really done it before, but we were happy with how it worked out, and there was an obvious one this week. So what am I saying? Last week we talked about Ken Walker as a target player prop, but we didn't tell you we won is over or we won is under. What are the books going to do? What are the books going to do with Ken Walker, who in week number 1 had a rushing prop of about 59.5, right? And finished the game with 10 carries for 20 yards. Going up against Pittsburgh, were they going to cut it in half, leave it the same? They kind of met it in the middle. Dropped it by 15. They was about 45.5. Smashed it. 13 carries, 105 yards. He's a really talented player, and it worked out. We now present to you A.J. Brown's receiving yards prop. What will the books do? A.J. Brown, through 2 weeks, has 6 catches for 35 yards. Last regular season, the lowest receiving yard game for A.J. Brown, who left a few games with injuries, by the way, in the middle of them, had at least 36 yards in every single game. And this is where he's at through 2. His receiving prop has been in the 70s in each of the first 2 weeks of this season. But now, when we go back to the start of last year's playoffs, through these first 2 weeks, which is not a nothing samples, that's his last 6 games. 33 yards per game is the A.J. Brown average. So what do you do if you're the books? It's not going to be in the 30s. It's not going to be in the 40s. 50s? 56.5? I think that's possible. That's a 15 to 20 yard discount likely coming your way as far as A.J. Brown goes. Or, because he's super popular and people are waiting for the bounce back, if they hang it in the 70s again, you might need to fade it again. Cannot wait to see what the books do with that. Let's stick with another receiver. We got time. We have a couple more of these. We may do some of them in our next segment. We'll talk to Tom about these. But Nico Collins is one to watch because there's a couple of top-end wide receivers who have had some big games. It's been up and down, right? Like, Puka Nacua has checked every box through 2 weeks. Jamar Chase went wild last week with Jake Browning checking in, right? Nico Collins is someone who, from a situation, is supposed to have a really big year because he's had big years as a member of the Houston Texans, and there's no Tank Dell all year. There's no Stephon Diggs all year. Well, through 2 weeks, he's got as many catches as A.J. Brown. So, I mean, and we know what the story is there. Not only does the difference is he has 14 targets. What's that about? That's less than 50% of targets turned into receptions. Only 77 yards. but that's kind of where you could see some opportunity against a Jacksonville defense who's allowed some big-time games to some number one wide receivers. Teteroa McMillan, by the way, a rookie debuting, went for 68 in the opener in a weird rain game delay situation. Jamar Chase finished that game with 165 yards, which was crazy. I think he had 14 catches. Guy's a superstar. He's live for OPOY, by the way. Just even with the Burrow injury, as much. With all of that said, where do the books go with Nico Collins? A drop? For someone who's only had 3 catches in each of the first 2 weeks, probably. I think you bet on the explosives because you could try and bet on the receptions. You're like, oh, targets are there. It's going to come. But Nico Collins is an explosive player, right? Last year, nearly 15 yards a catch. The season prior, 16 yards a reception. This year, it's at 12.8. Last week, it was at 17.3. I think you bank on the total there. I think that's one to watch. Books might come in a little light on Nico Collins this week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're going to hit a break. We're going to come back. We have a pair of rookies, okay, in target player props. So we're going to talk, sort these out, leaning a certain way. I think there could be some real meat on the bone here for these 2 rookies, so we're going to get to those target player props. We'll update you anything happening in the Major League Baseball board. Still waiting for the start of the WNBA playoff slate, which In Game Live will have you covered for tonight. I know Gabe's on one of those sides big time. We still got Cam Stewart stopping by. A lot happening here on SportsGrid.
Outside of Portrush, hard to imagine how it gets any better in terms of an individual year for Rory McIlroy. Just such good stuff from him.
Oh, totally. It's, it's kind of wild to me. You just go through that incredible list of venues that he's won at, and then, of course, throwing the Irish Open to be the 4th. It is hard to believe that he has not won since April. And we talk about this incredible year that he's had.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Who wants to go to Chicago in February for a Super Bowl? Hey, the NFL can host outdoor parties on Lake Michigan. Stop the madness at this point. But now I take a look at the Denver Broncos. Always fun in the Mile High City. Why? Because what a home field advantage. It's at elevation. It's going to be cold. It might snow, and Denver's going to have that advantage. You know what Denver goes? We're going to build a world-class facility that's going to be a dome.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Game Time Decisions back with you here on a Wednesday night. The Major League Baseball board off and running, and Pete Alonso is bringing the juice early as he ties this game against the Padres. That's one apiece. That's a double Yerfie. We're scoreless through 2, heading into the bottom of the 3rd between the Tigers and the Guardians. That is a nerfie. 2-1 Boston up on the A's. Yoshida singled in the 1st. Ref Schneider homered in the 2nd. So that was a Yerfie. If you played it, we are underway in Tampa, Toronto. We'll talk more baseball in a bit, but let's talk some target player props. I'm talking rookies. We begin at the quarterback position with Cam Ward. Simple question. How low can we go? Because Cam Ward in week number 1 had a 188.5. Well under. Well under. On the road against Detroit. Against Denver. Kind of expected. There were some drops. All right. Then they give you a 177.5 week number 2. Sneaks under. 175. Cam Ward so far, the glaring issue is completion percentage. I'm not saying that all falls on him. I'm just saying that's where you're seeing the issues creep up. This week they play Indianapolis, who absolutely limited the Miami Dolphins pass attack in week 1, but we did see Bo Nix throw for 200+ in the week 2 game against the Colts. But again, the target here for me is this is a Titans team who's projected to be trailing. Again, I'm not saying they're not live in the game, but a quarterback who I think is more than capable of having 300 passing yard games. You saw it on the first career passing touchdown against the Rams. He's a talented player. This number going to be in the 170s again? I'm interested. I'm very, very interested in how the books treat Cam Ward. I'm even more interested in how the books treat Quinshon Judkins. Judkins has been a real mystery over the offseason. Was he going to play? Was he going to be signed? Was he going to be suspended? So far, he's been signed. He's played. We wait for more news. And the game against the Browns, the final stat line, 10 for 61, looks great. I would argue that when you dive into it from a prop perspective, it looks even better. Here's why. Quinshon Judkins got the first carry of the game. So the running back that they took in round 2, the 36th overall pick, right, a fringe first-round selection, being the number 1 running back on this team does make sense. As somebody who has Dylan Sampson in a number of leagues and would rather see Sampson be the guy, Quinshon Judkins being their starting running back, he's the number 1 back on the depth chart, by the way, tracks. Okay, check that box. The prop against the Ravens was 14.5. They didn't know what to do, right? They were a huge underdog in the game. And you would think, well, listen, he broke a 31-yarder. How is that really, that's how you get over the number. They're going to adjust. Packers are going to be up big. They're not going to be running. That 31-yarder came on the final drive of the game. Because when you're getting blown out, you might as well give your rookie star potential back a bunch of carries to up that workload and to get him a little more acclimated to the league. So to me, I think Judkins is safe. Either scenario. Close game, I think he's the lead running back. I think it'll be a low number. They're playing Green Bay. The defense has been incredible. Again, the prop was 14.5 last week. How high could they make the number? High 20s, low 30s? And if it's a route, like it was against Baltimore, it was 41-10. They handed the ball off to Quinshon Judkins. They're playing backups, and he's out there. And I think you could run into a same situation if Green Bay is up at big and dominating. So that is where we're sitting. To just re-rack it, okay? Five target player props that we're keeping our eye on. Breece Hall anytime touchdown. Nico Collins over the receiving yards. Cam Ward over the passing yards. Quinshon Judkins over the rushing yards. And then you tell me, A.J. Brown. What do you want to do? What do the books want to do? Do they want to drop that number big time? Do they want to make you pay for the breakout? At some point, he's going to have a good game, but you're not going to get it cheap. And you're also not going to be able to hit him over the top with alts, right? Because if you make that number 55.5, someone's going to play 90+ at 4-1 and potentially, maybe in this game, maybe not. These are the questions we ask. And these are the questions that we will ask Tom Vecchio, as this stuff is right up his alley. We'll see if he's involved anywhere on the baseball board. We will remind you where we are involved tonight on the Major League Baseball board as well. It's Game Time Decisions live on SportsGrid.
outside of Portrush, hard to imagine how it gets any better in terms of an individual year for Rory McIlroy. Just such good stuff from him.
Oh, totally. It's, it's kind of wild to me. You just go through that incredible list of venues that he's won at, and then, of course, throwing the Irish Open to be the fourth. It is hard to believe that he has not won since April. And we talk about this incredible year that he's had.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Who wants to go to Chicago in February for a Super Bowl? Hey, the NFL can host outdoor parties on Lake Michigan. Stop the madness at this point. But now I take a look at the Denver Broncos. Always fun in the Mile High City. Why? Because what a home field advantage. It's at elevation. It's going to be cold. It might snow, and Denver's going to have that advantage. You know what Denver goes? We're going to build a world-class facility that's going to be a dome.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Game Time Decisions live as can be here on a Wednesday night. We bring in our guy Tom Vecchio. You can catch Tom across the SportsGrid network, and he will be live on Pro Football today, a week from Sunday, with Joe Lisi as the start of the international slate will begin as well. Tom, great to see you. Baseball board's off and running. You in the mix?
Moneyline minus 130. They are just a better team. Ian Seymour, no doubt, has been pretty solid for the Rays thus far. It's a small sample size. He can certainly get some strikeouts going, but, 40% fly ball rate doesn't always sit well with me when we're dealing with that type of park. So give me the Blue Jays just overall top to bottom of their better team. Gossman has been solid. They need to still pick up wins.
I played 4 unders tonight, Tom. If any of them speak to you either direction, feel free to let me and the people know. Under Royals Mariners, that's Cole Reagan's coming back, 8.5 at even money. Under the 9.5 in Yankees Twins, we're getting a minus 120 on that number. Louis Heel has been brilliant, really, for the Yanks. Astros Rangers, that's Jacob deGrom, a favorite on the road against Houston, minus 110 to that 7.5. And then late night Snell Luzardo, we play under 8 at minus 114. Any quick thoughts there, Tom?
No issues.
Great.
No issues. A bit too much scoring in Phillies Dodgers as of late. They're due for an under. Roll with it.
Awesome. Fantastic. Let's talk some target player props here, Tom. We went through a couple of these last week. I really enjoyed getting to pick your brain on, what we here as our team is seeing. I want to start with the up in the air one, which is A.J. Brown. Ooh. What do you think the books are going to do? What would you hope the books are do? How would you want to bet this? You tell me.
I'm guessing like a 59.5.
Okay.
58, somewhere around there. And, as I've said before, he's on my most important dynasty team. I am desperate for him to do well and start putting up yards just because the offense hasn't been moving. The downfield passes from Hurts just simply aren't there this year. All these things. I think based on his historical success, let's say it's 59, 56, 60, whatever it is. I think if he does go over it, it's not going to be like, oh, he gets to 65. He went over the 61.5. I think he goes for 80. So if he has success, we will see the higher end of outcomes on the bell curve. That's where he will land. I don't think he's going to squeak over. I'm more concerned about the offense just operating, and they also need to get Smith going. They obviously still need to have just the volume of carries for Saquon. So just the overall number of plays I'm worried about them running, and they may not be in a situation where they need to run those plays if they're out ahead of the Rams.
Yeah, I think that that's possible. I'm just going to, bring something up that, Tom, I know will register with you. I've mentioned it to the audience. I hope it registers with them. But the Eagles' pass attack last year, a lot of the lack of big games people just chalked up to, Hurts isn't that good. I think that is unfair through 2 weeks, right? I think something is not making sense. And again, Tom, and quarterbacks, I'm removing Goff. He's completing 80% of his passes, okay? Jalen Hurts is completing 75.6% of his passes. 5.6 yards per attempt. Those two things do not work in unison. Every other quarterback who's completing at least 70% of their passes is at 7 yards per attempt. Go the other end of the spectrum. Quarterbacks who are averaging 5.6 or less in terms of yards per attempt. Only one other quarterback is then completing 65% of their passes, and that's Bo Nix at 67.1. That's still a huge gap between where Hurts is. It's like nobody's open. Or Hurts is just protecting the football over all else. But still, you would think somebody could be wide open occasionally. We're not seeing it.
Yeah, and so like I'm looking at it, Hurts is number 1 in the league in CPOE, which is obviously good to see. And it's a new offensive coordinator for the Eagles. Like there is some type of growing pain of like, are they scheming up the exact same things from last year? Are they trying to tweak things from last year? Are they using the first few weeks as like, hey, let's test some things out because we know what we can do, right? We did it last year. We did the year before. Like, let's try and test some things out. Let's do a little bit of this. We know that Dallas Goedert was missing. Does that change things in the middle of the field? Like, so at the end of the day, there is something wrong. But that is a wrong in a 2-game sample size when we don't know if they're actually trying to do something different. So if players aren't getting open, we actually could dive into that and we have to find the receiver separation metrics, and that would actually tell us something. But other than that, it's like there is something going on. That's just a fact. We don't know what it is.
Tom, you're great in the touchdown market, and Breece Hall's anytime touchdown is something that we've talked about as a target because – again, you're always in it, so you're always looking to win over time, right? It's not about record; it's about the price. I'm fascinated on what a Breece Hall touchdown price could be, where Fields not being there. And again, like Chris really pointed this out. Fields being out, people that might think that's bad. That's a huge bump for him in the touchdown market, in my opinion.
Well, we're working with two different things pulling in opposite directions, where there's a chance that the Jets' offense is just bad. Like it operates inefficiently. They can't sustain drives. They can't get down the field. So while the touches for Breece Hall inside the red zone or inside the 10, not Braylon Allen notwithstanding, those are more valuable because Fields is not there. But his opportunities to get into the red zone are now tougher to come by just because the Jets aren't going to be operating at the same way that they were with Fields. So both things are true. And they are pulling in opposite directions. I will say, I already tweeted out Mike Evans plus 155. He's going to get
in that game
this week.
Ooh, yeah, 155. That's higher than you usually see for Mike. So again, a great bit of insight there from Tom. Let's stick with the running backs. Quinshon Judkins was not on my radar at all from a prop perspective. Total unknown coming into week number 1 or week number 2, his first game. I cannot wait to see what the books do here for week 2. For perspective, his number was 14.5. Where it was available, okay, against Baltimore. Obviously, flies through that number. He's listed as the RB1 on the depth chart. He had the first carry of the football game. I believe it. What do you make of this Browns backfield and Quinshon Judkins going up against Green Bay?
I think, and I heard you talking in the last segment about this. I think what you derive from the box score, I mean, you literally, people out there, the royal you, what you derive from it is going to tell you, you're going to take from it what you want to see. So if we remove the 31-yard run that he had, he's 9 of 30 or 9 of 31 overall. And that's, under 4 yards per carry. So you could say without that 31-yard run, he was bad, right? But you could say that he also led the team in carries. He was there on the first drive. He was there on the last drive. So those are good things. He was a little bit inefficient. Now he's going up against a very good defense. So I could say he's inefficient. That 31-yard run is a complete outlier. Therefore, if his prop is now in the mid to upper 20s or low 30s, I don't want to be backing him because he barely got there when he was the lead back. you also could say, oh, he was the lead back, and no one came close to him when it came to overall running back carries. So that's a good thing. So if it's in the 24 to 28 range, I'll be there with you.
And I think what I would add on top of it, Tom, and I think you would agree, he's probably going to get more carries, right? Like
it should, because if the box score was, I don't think I have it up here. So he had 10 carries, Ford had 6, Bond 1, Sampson 4. So if this was his first game and he got, let's just call it 9, let's remove this one long run.
Sure.
He's at 9 for 30, and Ford is at 6 for 31. He's still handling the majority, the lion's share of the overall running back rushing opportunities for the Browns. That 10 should turn into 12 or 14, and that's where the value comes from. Even if he is slightly inefficient, he could still get there on sub 4 yards per carry with a few extra touches.
And what I would add to, and I agree with everything Tom's saying, the reason I think the 31-yard run is, again, you're not trying to bet on that. It coming in the blowout is why I think it's a pro this week against Green Bay, where if they're getting blown out, I still think he's playing. And he might actually still be.
First snap. It's first snap, last snap, early, late, close game, late blowout. If he's there, and he should have them.
Yeah. Tom, really, really appreciate it. Great stuff, my friend. I am sure we will be checking in with you shortly. Best of luck throughout this NFL week.
Same to you.
All right, great stuff from Tom. Cam Stewart joins the show next.
Outside of Portrush, hard to imagine how it gets any better in terms of an individual year for Rory McIlroy. Just such good stuff from him.
Oh, totally. It's, it's kind of wild to me. You just go through that incredible list of venues that he's won at, and then, of course, throwing the Irish Open to be the 4th. It is hard to believe that he has not won since April. And we talk about this incredible year that he's had.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Who wants to go to Chicago in February for a Super Bowl? Hey, the NFL can host outdoor parties on Lake Michigan. Stop the madness at this point. But now I take a look at the Denver Broncos. Always fun in the Mile High City. Why? Because what a home field advantage. It's at elevation. It's going to be cold. It might snow, and Denver's going to have that advantage. You know what Denver goes? We're going to build a world-class facility that's going to be a dome.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
All right, we're live right here on SportsGrid baseball board now with a bunch of games starting to add on. Updates on this live board. 1-0 Guardians score first against Detroit. 2-1 Padres take it back from the Mets heading into the top of the third. Still 2-1 Boston on the A's. Now, there is a number of things that we can get to with our good friend Cam Stewart, who joins the show with us each and every Wednesday. Cam, it is always good to get the chance to talk to you. And I feel like I am going into your neck of the woods a little bit, Cam, because you're not afraid to bet some ugly underdogs. And I have been excited for whatever happens tomorrow. I am betting the Miami Dolphins 12.5. I can't wait for this game, Cam. How are you feeling?
I'm okay, Kev. You got more stones than I do, but I'm going to tell you, I have some really crazy things this week. And when we do a segment on NFL dogs, think about some of the worst teams, and they're all going to be on my sheet. Miami's not one of them, Kev. Yeah. Miami's not one of them, but I'm going to tell you this. Saints against my Seahawks? Yes. Really? Panthers against Falcon? See you, Frank Falcon. That Panther's going to be biting that bird, and that bird is going to fly right into the bottom of a tree. Kev, I got another one that's even crazier. Tennessee Titans. Like, I'm literally going to do shows tomorrow, and like when I do mineral picks, Titans, Panthers. Oh man! And I'll tell you something about the Seahawks, Kev. If I were to tell you that the Seattle Seahawks were 7-1 on the road last year, they don't win at home anymore, Kev. You see what they did to Pittsburgh, East Coast, early, opposite of what people think in this spot. I hate to say it, against your Philadelphia Eagles, looking at Ron Ram I got 4. It's 3.5 right now. It's going to make my card. And who's down on the Denver Broncos? Everybody and their mother. This is the week. I will take them in a divisional tilt against a Chargers team that looks unstoppable. Kevin, that's what I'm doing. Let's remember about the NFL. I talked to a guy today about it. And my dad's senior nursing home. The guy goes, he's stupid. You're taking the worst teams in the National Football League. I go, you're a nice guy there, Bob. But I'm going to tell you something, bud. Things change week to week. Yeah. And if you bet on a team in week 2 and whatever in week 3, nice guy. He's a little bit older, Kev, but he's very set in his ways. He's also a Steeler fan. And, we beat them for the first time ever, and it felt great. So I'll tell you this. The NFL, it changes week to week. Teams that look great one week can look horrible the next week. You want to get, you know what it is, Kev? And if we get stuck in those patterns, just thinking, wow, they look great, I'm going to take them again. It doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. What's funny is I hear you mention Carolina, and I was on Carolina last week. Now, here's the thing. They covered. But.
Yes, they did.
But it doesn't. Yeah. It for some reason doesn't feel like they did because they were down for so much of that game. I almost feel like I should just take my money and run. It's like, okay, let me not do this. Let me not.
No, Kevin. This is what you do. Your cat got fed. Your cat got fed, and now he's happy. You got Meow Mix. Now what you do? You buy the organic stuff that you can keep in the fridge and give him another taste. Don't worry. Paul Panther, he's back and ready to go.
He sure is.
Points with the Falcons. I don't care about Carolina. No, I don't want to lay points with the Atlanta Falcons. Sure, they beat Minnesota, but who are the Minnesota Vikings? Kev, I got to tell you another thing too. There's a golf tournament this week, and people are going up to me going, "What the heck? What do you mean golf tournament?" The following week in your backyard, I can't wait for the Ryder Cup. But we do have a tournament open to France. Basically, French Open. But everybody who is not basically in the Ryder Cup is there. And Kevin, I got a pick for you.
What do you got?
His name. Oh, by the way, we won. When I gave you the golf picks, could you believe this? I had Ben Griffin and Jackson Koiven on the PGA Tour. Ben Griffin was leading that tournament until the 16th hole. And who showed up? The Grim Reaper, Scotty Scheffler. And then he said, "Hey, pal, I want to win." And okay, whatever you got, Scotty. That's the whole thing. These guys just can't handle. Scotty Scheffler's in a different hemisphere. But last week I won on the European Tour with Alex Noren. I got another guy for you. Adrian Satie. Who is he, you ask? Well, he's the guy who lost in a playoff to Alex Noren. He played great at Wentworth, one of the toughest courses, Kevin. His last events, a second, a fifth. He won the Italian Open this year. Where is this tournament? France. Where is he from? France. And he's also playing great golf right now. Adrian Satie. Remember the name. 25-1.
All right. There we go. We got a couple of options on the board for the golf. Now I'm going to be thinking all week about Meow Mix and the Carolina Panthers.
Did you have a cat?
I don't have a cat. I don't have it, but
Okay.
I might have to adopt the Panthers.
I'm just saying, Kevin, and another crazy statistic for everybody out there. Sometimes I do themes. We have, like, Cardinals and Saints would be religious theme. Cowboys, and
Sure.
a lot of these themes, birds, cats, whatever, and a lot of them are intertwined. Birds, last week, flew to a 5-0 record. Think about it. Eagles, Seahawks, Falcons, every bird team won and covered last week. Am I nuts? Perhaps. But hey, sometimes let's make football even more fun with themes.
Oh, that's so good. Cam, before we let
be dangerous.
Cam, before we let you go, anything you're W baseball, anything you're betting tonight?
I'm betting WNBA, Kevin. I hate to say it's a boring public parlay. Both favorites at -138. I found in the WNBA. I'm looking at the Philadelphia Phillies against the Dodgers. I'll tell you, I'm just happy that the Jays held off last night. That's what I'm. And I bet the Jays at 7:00. I'm going to tell you something, man. Oh, Gossman's been pitching like an absolute beast the last 3 games, so I rode that wave. I hope he can do it again.
All right, we'll keep our eyes on all of that stuff. Cam, what a treat. What an absolute treat. Birds were unbeaten last week.
I'm trying to figure everything out here. It's like I basically have no settings, and sometimes you got to be your own IT guy. I don't win enough checks to figure it out and hire somebody, but I'm trying.
Listen, make them help you out, though, Cam, but we'll get it set. It was a treat to talk to you again, as always. Cam Stewart, catch him here across the SportsGrid network. We'll get you. You got it. I will. We'll talk some baseball on the other side of the break.
Outside of Portrush, hard to imagine how it gets any better in terms of an individual year for Rory McIlroy. Just such good stuff from him.
Oh, totally. It's, it's kind of wild to me. You just go through that incredible list of venues that he's won at, and then, of course, throw in the Irish Open to be the 4th. It hit hard to believe that he has not won since April. And we talk about this incredible year that he's had.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Who wants to go to Chicago in February for a Super Bowl? Hey, the NFL can host outdoor parties on Lake Michigan. Stop the madness at this point. But now I take a look at the Denver Broncos. Always fun in the Mile High City. Why? Because what a home field advantage. It's at elevation. It's going to be cold. It might snow, and Denver's going to have that advantage. You know what Denver goes? We're going to build a world-class facility that's going to be a dome.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We got a lot to do and not a lot of time. Let's start with this. Game Time Decision State University. Some college football looks. Now, I'll give you this, a little hand up, all right? My full card is not really ready yet. I was pushed to the window here a little bit. If I was able to submit this right now, I'd probably submit Temple against Georgia Tech, in part because Cam, before he got out of here, was giving Chris some stuff because Chris is a Temple alum, and they did not help anybody out in a non-cover against Oklahoma. I, though, am lurking and waiting for an LSU team total this week. They beat Florida, a big-time SEC win, and Brian Kelly's bombarded with questions about why is the offense not better. This is a chance to beat him up and rout him up and really hang it on SC Louisiana, so that's what I'm going to be keeping my eye on. Yarnell's looking at that JMU Liberty game. I thought it was going to matter. Liberty is terrible. He's looking for a rushing prop in that one. Chris is playing the over 47.5, Auburn, Oklahoma, arguably the biggest game on the slate. AJ's going with Nebraska money line against Michigan, a little GTD State University there for the people. What else do we have for you? Oh, that's right. A bonus target player prop, if you will. Because I heard something today, and I won't be able to unhear it. Ashton Genty, not involved a lot against the Chargers. That's what I thought. Turns out he agrees.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you draft a guy like me to not give me, carries and touches, and I'm ready for the responsibility, and like I said, it's gonna start with me, and in the run game, and I gotta continue to get better.
What's this experience like? You didn't experience this in college, not being able to be prolific, and you haven't had a lot of opportunities to early. But how's that been?
Yeah, I think it's just all learning, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a learning curve to the NFL for, every single rookie that comes in. I mean, I think it's really rare that a guy comes in and just flat out balling off the rip. So I'm not, feeling no type of way towards it. I just, like I said, I need to get better, and, the big time performances that, everybody might be expecting, I mean, those will come, but, it's just about consistency.
When you look at this Washington.
Ashton Genty has 30 carries through 2 games in his NFL season. Ashton Genty, would you like me to read some of the carry logs at Boise? 30, 32, 37, 19, 32, 34, 31, 30. You get the point. And I think he's right. You don't draft Ashton Genty. It's almost going to be impossible to justify taking a running back in the top 10. People still don't seem to realize that. Like, even if the guy's really good. Is Bijan Robinson fantastic? Yes. Would the Falcons have been better off drafting Jalen Carter than Bijan Robinson? Obviously. Obviously. The reality is, it's going to be hard to do it even if they're amazing. Give them the chance to be amazing, okay? And they just did not use Genty enough in that football game. Pete Carroll came over the top and agreed, basically, with Genty. Carries, yards, long rush, the whole kit and caboodle against the Commanders. I want eyes on that situation. 2 totals that have not started yet. We see double Yurfie in the 2 games that I played. Not my favorite start to those games, but under 7.5 Astros, Rangers, under 8 Dodgers, Phillies. Also, Sam's best bet did not start yet, which is going to be Dodgers' first 5 run line minus the half at minus 104. My best bet has not started either, but is right around the corner. Game 2 of the Liberty and the Mercury at the Barclays Center tonight. Alyssa Thomas for 10-plus assists is at plus 110. AT had 8 dimes in the opening game, despite the fact that her team struggled to make any shots. And the 2 stars that play next to her, in Satu Samali and Kalia Copper, combined to go 1 of 14 from beyond the arc. If that's 4 of 14, that might be 3 extra assists that goes Alyssa Thomas's way and clears this prop comfortably at plus 110. I am backing arguably the best player in this series in an elimination spot to step up and get the job done. That line is going to go off of the board at 4.5. 160.5 is your listed total. Late night, the Lynx climbing a little bit, 10.5 now against Golden State. Total much lower at 151.5. I don't hate some Nafisha Collier alts. Up the number, get the job done. She's over 2-1 for 25. I could see 30 in her future tonight. I know for a fact that both Gabriel Morency and Scott Wetzel will have you covered throughout the WNBA playoffs and Major League Baseball slate with In-Game Live. That is next. And a reminder, spoiler, tomorrow's best bet's already in. Dolphins plus 12.5. See you there.
Moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is